We're here with Steve Carlson at the West Boylston Historic Society. And can you tell us about this town, when it was incorporated, established?
Yep, the town was incorporated in 1808. We were originally the town of Lancaster, and then came Shrewsbury and Boylston and West Boylston. So it just through the years broken down to eventually our own town that we have today. It was taken pieces from Holden, Worcester, Sterling, West Boylston, or Boylston.
So we're going to visit a church. Tell us about that stone church.
Well, the church, originally it was a wooden structure, like dating back to like 1840s or so when the church was established. The wooden structure burned down 1892. It was replaced with a stone church, and soon after the Metropolitan Water District decided to take eminent domain of the town to put the Wachusett Reservoir in. And at that point, it was pretty sad what happened to the town. The construction of the reservoir took 10 years, 1898
Wow.
to 1908 to completely fill, so it was a hand-dug reservoir. So they decided, the Metropolitan Water District decided to leave the church intact because it was basically a brand new building. So the Baptist Society did put a new structure on the town common, which is basically a wooden version of the church that was there. So the church is still standing on the common. It belongs to the town Masonic Lodge.
Oh, it does belong to the
Yes,
Masonic
yes.
Lodge. Interesting. So what did people, when this was established, what were people doing here? Was there mills?
We had a lot of cotton mills, boot making, shoe making. It was a mill town. And farming town. So a lot of the farms, our main center of town, the business section, was down where the reservoir is today. So that the business section of town being taken away, and the mills and everything, so the population of town went downhill.
Oh, it did. It was a very populated area beforehand.
Yes, it was.
And what's the population now? Do you know?
It's around between 8,000 and 9,000,
Thousand?
somewhere up there. But back when all this happened, we like 1,500, or it had a dramatic
Impact.
Yeah.
And did the mills close because of this, or?
Most of them closed. A couple of them went on to other relocations.
So it really closed everything down.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of people lost their homes. Quite a few homes came up from the valley and reestablished themselves. They moved the buildings up and moved all over town. Central Street was basically moved. All the buildings came up from the lower valley up to the center of town. The town common here has always been the town common since 1808.
It has.
Yes.
Okay.
So we had a lower common.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, there was the lower common, which housed the business area, all your general stores, the police department, anything that you would get in the center of town. That we unfortunately lost. So our town hall was down in that area, the high school.
Wow. Everything.
Everything.
Really, this town was, wow.
It was devastating to the town, and people in town were not happy about it.
And did you grow up here by chance?
I did.
Oh,
yes,
you did?
Yes.
So you must have heard about all the...
I did from a small child. I heard all the stories. I grew up right my grandparents' house was right basically in where all the destruction of the town took place in the small village of Oakdale. So when I was a small child, I heard stories, and I've always had an interest in these stories. And you walk along the shoreline as a child, and you come a pile of bricks.
Oh,
and then
you knew.
wonder, yeah, what's going on here? So, I since like 4 years old, I've always had an interest in the town's history.
And so tell us a little about the Historic Society. Was that established?
1972.
Okay.
Yeah. So a group of individuals in town decided that something should happen because West Boylston is part, we have an important history to tell. And we had a founder, Edgar Whitcomb. There was James Cook and many others that needed to get the word out and say, hey, we need to do something.
When did the Historic Society acquire this building?
Around 1990 or so.
Oh, okay.
It belonged to the Shepherd family. It was a turkey farm at one time, but originally in town, this building was, it always has been on the original spot. So it was built as a tavern.
It was, okay.
It was, yes. And this is a little historic area right here. So across the street was a general store. So this little area here
is any
original.
This little area besides this building, is there any other little buildings around or big buildings around that or is this the only one standing?
The three buildings here across the street, and then the small little white building belonged to this one. It was the distillery, so they would make the whiskey or beer or whatever they were doing at the time for liquor for the tavern.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And through the years, both buildings had many uses. They became private homes through the years.
So this building was built when?
There's no exact date because nobody can find the original dates to this building. So we figured between like 1755 to 1770s, somewhere in that. Probably say 1760 is a good.
All right, we'll say 1760.
Yeah.
Anything else about the town that is special or notable?
Well, we had Robert Bailey Thomas of the Old Farmer's Almanac.
Okay.
Is from town.
Oh.
He was born in Grafton, but he was raised here on his father's farm in Oakdale. I once lived in his childhood home as a child myself.
So now is Oakdale a village?
It's a village. West Boylston had three villages: Oakdale, Harrisville, and they were the two villages inside the town of West Boylston.
Very interesting.
Harrisville no longer exists, but Oakdale is still around. So that's where I grew up, in the Oakdale section, which had its mill buildings. It was a large industrial village in its heyday.
And what do most people do for livings here? Or is it a retirement community?
Most people, I would say Worcester, for employment. Probably the Worcester is so close to us.
Right.
So that was the big city. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. In around the year 2007, 2008, this room was dismantled and rebuilt. So it's all new construction.
It is.
Made to look
like it was originally.
Yes.
Yeah, with the fireplace and different things. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when it was a turkey farm, they did unfortunately bring the turkeys into this room. And there were etchings of Bathsheba Spooner. I can actually bring you up there and show you what is left of an etching. Versions, there's There she is down there.
So who did these etchings?
Well, there's different stories
Okay.
going on. Originally, we thought it was somebody staying here at the tavern, but then I've heard that the 3 prisoners were up here. So somebody did the etchings.
That would probably make more sense.
Yes.
That they were bored
Yes.
and did etchings.
And
Wow.
there's also date, you know, like you always see in the movies where they etch
Date, yeah.
the markings of each day.